SQL, that's the structured query language, with the professionals in data and AI team. So this evening, we'll just be walking through the introduction to SQL. And as much as possible, I won't want to say we'll be demystifying, but as much as possible, we make it simple. And I always like to tell people that things might be simple, but don't take it with levity. So uh, SQL is a very simple language. Like um, you can, but the more you use it, the more you get good at it. But the less you use it, the more you struggle to find one or two things. But once you master it, it's just like speaking English. To some extent, it sticks with you and it's not difficult to learn. And this evening, I will be doing our learning with a platform called W3 Schools. So I will be sharing my screen now. And the reason why I'm using W3 School is that uh, who can share? I think I'm the only one that wants to share. All right. So let me share my screen. Yes, and they didn't pay for the advert, but it's fine. So W3 School is a learning platform, and I know I will have mentioned it to us when I was doing introduction to Excel also. And as a platform, it has a lot of learning materials, a lot of learning resources for you for free. So that's why I always use it for most of my free trainings, just to show people and um, they can learn. So in case we're not able to go through all these topics, in your own free time, you can pick it up and continue your learning. Somebody says, is this enough? Yes, at least for now, it's enough. So maybe, but when you start doing your own personal things, yes, you might need more complex and or more complex resources. Yes, then at that point, you can seek a mentor, you can go online and look for more information. Yes, but having said that, what you have here is sufficient enough for you to put your experience on CV and be bold about it and say, this is SQL, I can use it. And that's why we're taking it as one of our two. Yes, so having said that, can I hide this guy? I know you are not saying it, but 1 minute. Okay, good. Can we all see my screen? So we'll just do a quick run through of what we have here. Then I will take us to the platform we're using to run it. And W3 School, like I said, you can just sign up and log in, and you can run all your learning on the platform. But what I've done so far is to imagine that I'm being given an interview during my interview process, and it's required of me to download a data set and upload to an SQL environment and run a script and return the script to the interviewer. So that's the process we are following today. But I will explain to you how I'm able to get the data set, extract it from here, converted it to CSV, then I'll be loading it in your presence onto our cloud SQL environment. Yes, so that's it. Yes, so let's start the introduction. So SQL is just a language. And like I said, just like the way I'm communicating to you in English, is also it's a language used to communicate with database. So database, like we all know, is an environment that our data set has been stored. You know, all those application, most of the time I refer to banking data because my experience is quite sweet there. But now I'm learning about health data, which is very interesting. So, you know, when you use a bank app, for all your transaction, as you're transferring or maybe as you're receiving the money, there is a database being updated near real time, near real time. Let's say near real time, maybe milliseconds, and that's why you can see the moment you transfer 10K or urgent 2K, you see that your balance they've removed the urgent 2K. So, and that information, if an analyst or any other system that have to do with your bank or your environment, if you go, that's why if you transfer on your phone, if you go to your ATM machine, you will notice that the transfer, the debit have been done. And so what's that? So is your database that is storing that data set and managing all your transaction and updating it accordingly, right? But SQL now is the language that you use to retrieve information from those databases for your analytics, right? And although somebody might think that, oh, but they say analytics is coming from a warehouse. Yes. So we have different type of databases. That's a story for another day. So there is a database that manage transaction data set. So that one is very fast and is very light to some extent because it's to manage transaction. But there is a database which is being used in warehouse, which is being optimized for analytics. And that's what you will be connecting to as a data scientist, as a data analyst most of the time. Because what's your responsibility? To show the business their data set, how they're performing, and if there is anything to look out for. So you will be connecting to the warehouse. So the language that you use to connect to the data warehouse is this SQL. I hope that's clear. And you can see that this tutorial, I remember that time when I started using SQL, I started with Microsoft SQL. So to some extent, which people ask me, do you know how to use Oracle? I'll be shaking until when I get to know that these guys are the same thing. They're just like your Apple, where some people do argue with me, but it's just like your Techno and your Samsung phone. Some people will say the camera is brighter, but no, Android is Android. You understand? So just like, so all of them are SQL environment, but it's just a different maker. So MySQL is being bought over by Oracle. So most of the time MySQL is free. SQL Server is being owned by Microsoft. That's Microsoft SQL Server. Then MS Access is being owned by Microsoft. Then we have Oracle, we have CBase, then we have Postgres and all those other ones. And but the main thing is that all this environment, what you use to connect and communicate with them is your what? SQL. Very simple language. And that's why, because if you're applying for a role as a data analyst, it's expected of you to be able to connect to databases, right? Retrieve information, do some scripting and transformation in the data set so that you can have a quality data set for your analytics, right? So that's it. So if we have any question, we can drop it on the chat. And so I just move on. All right, so we can move on to the next one, which is what? You can see SQL is a standard language for accessing and manipulating databases. And it stands for what? Structured query language. So SQL, you'll be hearing SQL. So that's the full meaning. So structured query language. And I will be jumping out the story because people, even me, I can't. But if it's required, you know that it's here. But let's see what SQL can do for us. One, it helps you to execute queries against database. And queries are nothing but what? A request. So the way I can tell you, oh, my brother, can you send me to urgent 2K there? Yes, that's a request. So you're sending it back is the response. So that's the same thing. So the way we interact with database is through an SQL. So I will show you an interface where you can type your script and request from the database. So it helps you to retrieve data. It helps you to insert record. It helps you to update. It helps you to delete. And we call all this thing, we call it a crude, is it crude action or crude activities? That's create, retrieve, that's the retriever, then U for update, right? Then D for delete. Yes, CRUD. CRUDE. Yes, E for execute. So that's it. But well, just if you can just note the acronym somewhere so you can see create, update, delete, then no, create, CR, create, retrieve, U, update, delete, and execute. So the CRUD. Yes. So that's that. And it uses major commands, which are like the select, we'll be seeing that. It's just the basic things. And I always like to tell people the basis of SQL. And that was what really helped me in my understanding of SQL, right? You know, the name database, initially, I was so scared of it. When you hear database in your mind, you're like, hey, this data people have started again. especially when they're not mentioning tables. You're thinking, what is tables? And lo and behold, so a little background about me. So I've always been working with Excel. I now moved into the consulting stuff. And the person I was working with then now mentioned that, Sheon, you are very good with Excel. Why are you finding SQL like rocket science? And I said, it's not like that. I can write basic script. Now mentioned to me that if I can understand the way things are in Excel, SQL is just like an advanced environment. So that's why I always tell people, okay, let's start with Excel. If I open my Excel, the first thing that pop up and what I will be working with is what we call what? The workbook. This workbook can be equated to what we call a database. So that's the first thing. Your Excel workbook is doing the same function as a database, right? Then if I open my Excel workbook, what I have here is what? Sheets. And your worksheets are the same thing as what? Your tables. And what is your worksheet made up of? Rows and columns. And that's it. So once you have your rows and columns, I need to mute someone. I need to mute someone. Maybe you need to mute yourself. And if you have any question, you can just drop it in the chat. So then your rows and columns is what you have in your table. And that's the same thing you have. But the difference between Excel and database and between Excel worksheets and your tables in SQL is that your tables in SQL are conditions to data type. Data type in that I can tell you that this column, it's we can talk a little bit about data types. I can tell you that this column is a varchar, and the meaning of varchar is what? Variable character. I can say variable character 20. The meaning of that is that it can only accept 20 characters. And your characters is from 1 to any number and A to any number. You understand? That's just the meaning of varchar. And we also have something that is integer. That means it can only take whole numbers. So you can have from minus infinity to infinity. No, it's not infinity. Minus whole number to yes. So because infinity, you can have decimal and all those things. Then we have another guy that is called float or decimal. So that's one is the one that moved from minus infinity to infinity. Yes. Then there is another one, date, when we're talking about your date of birth and everything. Yes, that's date, data type. Then which other thing? But if you now go in further into different environments, you can be seeing things like big int, all those things. So all those guys can, and you can have strings. So maybe you want to write a little bit text. Maybe you want to just document it. But basically, your varchar can also work as a string. So, but basically, these are the things that you have. If I remember any other one, but these are the major categories. You can see these two, they are your numbers. This one is date, and this one is text. So if you can understand it that way, yes, somebody can mention binary where you're having true or false, 1 or 0. Yes, that one is or is it binary or logical? Yes, logical, 1 and 0, true or false. Yes. Now, so the difference between I don't know if you can hear me. Can you still hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yes.
Oh, good. Somebody's
Yeah.
distracting. Okay, good. So the difference between what's it called? SQL and Excel is that under Excel, your column is free text. You can put A here and put next one, you put date. Maybe 12/06/05/2024. It will work in Excel. But in SQL, you don't do that. It won't accept it. So that's just the basic things that we should put at the back of your mind. So once we have that understanding, yes, we can now go into SQL. Yes. And we use our using SQL on your website. For most of the website that we know, all websites have a database that is running at the back end, right? There is a database running at the back end, and this database is for storing information, right? It's for storing information. So all your activities online, To some extent, the information is being stored somewhere. Yes. And so, how DBMS stands for Relational Database Management System, because the expectation is that these are like the systems being owned by organizations, right? And this system, they call it Relational Database Management System because the expectation is all the tables within this relational database management are related to one another using primary key and foreign key. Yes, using primary key and foreign key. And is that relationship that makes the system a relational database management system. So relationship between tables is what, is what makes your database a relational database management system. So when you advance in your journey with SQL, you'll be hearing things around normalizations. You'll be hearing things around keeping normalized table, keeping data in normalized form, and the likes. Yes, so that is the function of relational database management system. Yes, I hope it's clear so much. I know we are all looking forward to like typing something, which we'll be doing now. I think it's a good time to go there now. So yes, do we have any question? No question yet. Okay, so let me just show you how I'm able to.
Excuse me.
Yes,
Hello.
go ahead. Hi.
So please, I put one on the chart. I'd like
Okay.
to know the difference between a data warehouse and
Mhm.
database.
Okay, good. Good
Thank
question.
you. Mm.
Yes, you're welcome. So a data warehouse, like like um like we said, so a data warehouse is like an environment where you have multiple databases, right? What is storing information within that warehouse is your what? Is your database. So, but your database is like a shelf. So let's take it to the physical environment. You have warehouse. What is warehouse used for? It's used for storage of goods and products. Yes, once you that big environment. So now, if you take it to the data environment, now each of the rack you have in the warehouse is now your data, is like your database. You can, well, initially before the cloud, before the evolution of cloud, data warehouse are actually it's an environment where you have your servers, right? And your servers are nothing but something like your CPU, right? Now in that warehouse now you have multiple servers, and I can install multiple server, and the only thing that is running on them is an SQL server. So if SQL server is running on them, inside, the software portion, the software part of that warehouse is where the database is coming in. You understand? Like I have my laptop now. My laptop have all those CPU, all those RAM. Exactly. That's good. Now, the software aspect, which is that Excel workbook that we are opening, is where your database is. So my laptop can be a data warehouse. I don't know if it makes sense. So your data, if it's getting complex, just know that your data warehouse is a collection of databases. That's it. Collection of databases, and you know that where you have databases, you have your data. So that's just it. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
All right. All right. You're welcome. Yes. Any other question? I don't know why my phone is still ringing. That's strange.
There's one in the chat. Difference between RDBMS and SQL.
Oh, okay, good. So difference between RDBMS and SQL. Now, RDBMS, like we explained the other time, is the environment. So the meaning of RDBMS is what? Relational Database Management System. So is that system itself. So, and you can see different type of, so when I'm telling you MySQL, SQL Server, all those things, their general name is what? Relational Database Management. But SQL is the language that we use to retrieve information from those systems. And we'll be seeing basic SQL scripts, like very basic, and it's just English. And even some people, I've trained some people that at the end of the day, like, so why are people saying it's difficult? I said, it's people's mindset. Things are not difficult, but if your mindset is difficult, I can't have that. You understand? Very simple. It's very basic. Yes. So yes, thank you for that. So let's just move to getting our data set. If you want to get our data set, I shared the link on the group that you can use to access this drive. And in this drive, we have SQL resources, and these are like all the data set we'll be using. These are all the data set within W3 School. So what I've done is to just come, for example, if I come to this page, so you can see under SQL, what you have is your database, right? You have your database, and after your database, you have your tables. You have your tables. They didn't, because they hosted it in the cloud, so they just like ignore the database aspect. So when you go into proper maybe hands-on training, you notice that at least there is no much difference between a database and once you understand the database. So let me just show you, so I won't be mentioning. So if I go to my SQL server, I can use my SQL workbench. So a good, let me just explain the difference between a server and, for example, in this case, this is a workbench. I always ask people, your files that you are saving on your laptop, let's take ourselves back to monitor and CPU. When you save a Word document, where is it saved? Is it in your monitor or in your CPU? Somebody's
CPU.
thinking. Is in your CPU, because your CPU is actually where everything is happening. So that is the same thing as your server, right? But for you as human to see what is going on in your CPU, you need what? A monitor. And that's what your SQL's MySQL Server Workbench is. So it's a monitor that connects to the CPU, which is the server, and shows you. And if you get to an environment, they tell you they are using MySQL, you know that the kind of CPU you can use is what? MySQL Workbench. If you get to another environment and they tell you they are using Microsoft Server, you just know that the CPU, the monitor you'll be using is Microsoft SQL. I want to bring that, where's the guy? SQL Server. Good. You know that one you'll be using SQL Server Management Studio. So they are so it's just like I said, because if the environment is using Microsoft Server, which is the Microsoft CPU, then you will need a Microsoft monitor, which is your SQL Server Management Studio. But if the environment is using MySQL, you will use Workbench. If the environment is using Oracle, you use platform like Toad to access Oracle servers. So, and the like. But it's so funny, all these things, because of the evolution of cloud, there is always interface within every cloud environment. Yes. So this is your server. Then within your server, you can see this one is telling me I'm on my Microsoft server, which is on my desktop. Within the server, I have a database. I have databases, right? And within the databases, so AdventureWorks, general database made available by Microsoft. Then within the database, and I have my tables, which is what we're always interested in. An example of tables here, I can just select top 1000 rows of my DIM account. That's dimension account. Then you will see the account information. So you can see the flow. So from the server, that's the first thing you will connect to, which is being showed here. Once you're connected to the server, you will see your databases. Once you see your databases, you will now see your tables. And it's the tables, it is within the tables, you will now start writing your SQL script. Yes, I hope that's clear. So we won't be doing server installation because I want people to be able to do the hands-on as much as possible. So where we'll be going is what is called SQL Online, SQLite Online. So if I can paste something on the group, we can just quickly go there and just go to SQLite Online, and just you can click on the link and you can sign in. This is my signed in environment, and I will recommend you quickly create a username and password so you have it to yourself. And you can see within this SQLite environment, I have my MariaDB, I have my PostgreSQL, and I have my Microsoft SQL Server, Microsoft Server SQL. So I will just focus on this MSQL because the SQL we're working with is like MS SQL, is Microsoft SQL also. Yes, are we doing that? So the expectation is hands-on as much as possible. All right, so once you get to the MS SQL environment, by default, you have a database. So just go to MySQL environment, which is your DB, MySQL environment. This is your DB, like your database. Then here, what we'll be doing, we just import our tables. So let me just proceed by doing import. Then I will open the file and look for, you can see all the tables on my own environment, right? So if I come here, I can select customer, just open it. It will show you all the information, like the data set, and you can change it and say, make my first line as my column names, as the first, use first line as the column names. Then you have all the information. Then you can click OK, and that's it. You can see your customer table being loaded, right? So I will just go ahead and load others. Yes, the session is recorded, so you will see my screen. You will see it in the, so I'll just click employee and use first column as header. Yes, and click OK. You can see very simple. And import again. Do we even need all these tables? But let me just import it as much as possible. If there is I can just, let me just proceed with this query. And if I need any of the tables, I can always bring them back in, right? So if we go back to our W3 schools, you can see that these are all the tables I have in my own environment. So I have it on the folder, in the folder. So you can just pick them up anytime you want. So let's go. Then the first thing you have in SQL is your syntax, right? And the syntax is basically, how do you query your database table? How do you request for information from your database table? And one powerful and most unique query is your select star from, so which is the basic. So like the example they showed us on W3 School, if you want to see all the records within this customer table, all you have to do is to say select star. The meaning of star is all the columns. Yes, please. Yes,
Sorry,
please.
someone says you are too fast.
Yeah, so I will be fast because it might be that maybe the person is trying to download my file and upload. So, but well, I can hold on. Can I take 2 minutes break and let us at least do the setup, complete the setup? Well done, but you are too fast. The
So
link
the
to
one
the
you click.
online SQL. Okay, I thought I shared the link the other time. Let me just share the link. Yes. So let me mute myself for 2 minutes. I think even my earpiece is acting funny. So for people doing the installation, I will give you just 2 minutes to complete, then I will come back. I hope that's fine. So by 8:42, we continue. Just 2 minutes. Does anybody need support or help with anything? I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we
Is
can hear you.
anybody, yes, is anyone needing support? So the main thing is just come here to this environment. You should have access to this, what I shared. Or, okay, let me even share it on the group here. So in case you are not on the group. So let me share again. Anyone with the link, you are a viewer. So let me just say done. Let me just copy the link and share. So this one is where you have your data set. So once you click on it, it takes you here. Just, can you download? Yes, just right click and download. You have this zip file. So move it to anywhere you want it to sit on your system, right? Then go to my SQLite online, right? Register. You see your username and password, just register. This is my own personal environment. Just put your email and password and you're in. Then once you're in, go under the section of MS SQL, right? MS SQL. Then click on import. Then open. Which one have other details? Open. Just go to others. So this is like the folder I'm working with. You can see SQL resources. I'll just select others. So you can see. Then once you come here, it's asking you for the column name. You can see it's showing C1, C2, C3, C4. But now, because I know that my first row is my first column, right? So I can just click this and use my first line as my column name. Then once I have that, I'm good. Just click OK. You might see all those question mark behind your script, your table. Don't worry. At least the goal is to understand even how to speak or communicate with the tables. The expectation is if in a real life environment, your data might be neater, right? But at least you can see that even in these tables, um, because we are importing it with CSV, yes, that's why it's like showing anyhow. But that's not the main thing. The main thing is you have these tables. How do you query it and get information from it? And that's what we are doing. Yes, I think it's time. So can I move on? So we are trying to see SQL syntax. So if you are here, just try and make sure you import this customers table because that's what we'll be making use of most of the time. So the main thing is select. Select means give me some set of records, right? After select, what you have is the columns you are interested in. But if you're working with a table for the first time, it's always advisable you use star. The meaning of star is just give me all the columns that is available within this table. Then the next English is what? From. The meaning of from is that where are you even getting this guy from, right? In this case, I'm interested in the customers table. And you can see as you're typing, the guy is showing you some information. And this information are what we call the intelligence of the environment. So it understands your table and is giving you suggestions. So I can say what I need is what? Customers. So you can see it's showing me customers table. I can just press tab and I have it, right? Once I have it, select star from customers. It means select all my columns from my table customers. So if you run this, that's it. Now you are a user of SQL. Celebrate your win. How can I create account on the website? Once you log into the website, it should show you create account. I think that's fine. Oh, HB is laughing. Yes, celebrate your win. It's important. So such that by the time you are writing line of 100, you are writing script of 100 lines, you will remember that the first time you use SQL, you started with just one line. Because if one line can make sense to you, then 100 lines can make sense. But if you miss out on the one line, it might not move, right? So this is the basic script of an SQL, like is the most. Even for me, whenever I'm given any task in SQL, this guy is very important to me because one, this guy shows you all the columns within this table. Now, once you have the understanding of what is inside the table, then you know that if this table is required or not. You now take it a step further. But if you can't see, if you don't know there is anything called customer ID, you won't know, and that customer ID is in customers. If you go and check it in employee ID, in employees table, you won't see customer ID. So just to show you how important this guy is. Yes, any question? Any question? Let me test something. I hope all this my question mark will not be stressing me. I hope it won't be stressing me. Hey, if it's stressing me, that would be strange. Okay, okay. Well, that's fine. We'll, we'll, we'll conquer it. Okay. Yes. So do we have any question? Do we have any question?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
This is Merit. Do
All right.
all SQL have the same future?
Yes, it
Okay.
has the same. So at least all of them start from this select star from customers. That's the basic.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Yes. You're welcome. And okay, yes. So, and you can see that now we're in this environment. Now you have this, and even if you are maybe your environment you're not able to set it up, these W3 schools, I told you, I said it has you have the ability to run your script within the environment. And how do you get here? If you go to W3 schools, once you click try it yourself, it takes you to their environment, which to me is the same thing as where we are in SQLite. Because this environment, this is the area where you put your statements, and this is where you see your results. Once you run, you can see. And I think we should even use we should use this guy. And the reason for that is this question mark this guy is bringing in. I don't know why. So maybe because we uploaded Excel file, so that's why it's bringing in this guy. But you can use this one too. And the expectation is, well, in real life, you won't have all these question marks. You won't have it. So, but you have this one bearing it. So if I come here and I say select star from customers, if I say select star from customers, you can see all your information here. And this one is even looking better. Yes, so we can work on this maybe for now, and I can try and fix that one. So such that, but everything you want to write in terms of script, you can write it here, run it, and see your result. Anyone that works for you is fine. So let's proceed. So once you have this, you can see they are telling you about your database tables, and in this case, they are working with customers table, right? And now you can see all the important commands you have in SQL, which are select, update, delete. This update, because we are using cloud environment, you will not be able to update their own. No, you won't be able to update the one in. Will you be able to update the one in W3 school? Because it's, or you can update, is restricted to your own. Then you have delete, and you can have create database, which is used to create a new database if you are on maybe on your personal environment, like this my SQL or my SQL environment. Now I can create a database for myself. Then you have alter tables. Alter tables, the way you can click on Excel and change value from 1 to 2. You don't do that in SQL. You need to write a command, which is your alter table. You understand? You can alter table to modify the table and do all those things, right? Then you have your drop table. If you are tired of a table and you don't need it anymore, you use drop table, right? Then you create index. So create index if is a function used to optimize database query. And for example, a good example that I've seen in a lot of organization is creating index on the date column. So date column is where you have all transactions come with the date. And today, all of us can perform transaction in the database. Now, if we create index on the today's date column, it will only pick it. So when you are querying, it will only look for one day, and it will use that day, one day, to map all the corresponding days automatically, rather than it going through it line by line and searching for the date on line by line itself. No. So what create index helps you to do is to create bucket. So all the transaction that happens within today, create index, we put them in one bucket. Tomorrow, one bucket. So when you write query and you use that date column as part of or as your filtering function, it will go to the database and pick the information and retrieve the information faster. So they use it in big databases because imagine you're a bank, you know how many transactions is going on your account, on your platform, and it must be available near real time. So that's index. And drop index is if you are tired of the index and it's no longer relevant, you can drop it. So these are some important commands and how you can use them within your environment. But like I said, just to know that they are there, going through this one after the other will help you to understand it better. So let's go to the next one. Now, the next thing we are doing here, like I said we are not using this guy because of those error. By the time I'm writing where this question mark will be throwing up one or two things. And you can see showing me what I don't want. So we can just stick to the environment where we have a neater data set. Yes. So the next thing we want to do, the first one that we've tried is what? Select star from. Who can remind me what star stand for? Just put it on the chat. I want to see if one or two people are following me. All, perfect. All what? All columns, perfect. So because there is difference between all columns and all rows. Yes, so perfect. Thank you for that. So thank you for that, HB. So all columns. So if you understand selecting all columns, then we know that the next stage, if you don't need all the columns, what will you need? Maybe I need just two columns. So if you need just two columns, you can just say customer ID, and what? Customer name. So if I need just only customer ID and customer name, I can put that in my query and just select, and you have your two columns. So you can attach it to your CV. Now I can query by columns. Initially you are using star. Now you can specify the columns you are interested in. And as a data analyst, somebody is saying, why is this one important? If you work with data engineers, because data engineers have a lot of requests on their head, like people asking for everything that they don't know where it is. If you ask for customer details, they don't know what you need in that customer table. And if you've worked in bank, customer table can have like 200, 300 columns. And for your analytics, for your Power BI, for God's sake, the guy doesn't need 500 columns. So your ability to run only select the columns that you are interested in and use that script to bring in relevant data sets into your visualization tool. You can see how that will separate you from somebody that doesn't know anything about SQL. They give you column, 500 column, you just connect because you are expert in Power BI, you just connect everything inside your Power BI. Then your Power BI will be processing unnecessary data set. Hence, if somebody just want to see total sales yesterday, they will have to go and sleep and come back, right? Because your data, your visualization tool is processing a lot of columns that are not relevant to the analytics you are presenting to the business. So you can see, as simple as this act is, if you don't know it, you can't manufacture it. But it's very important. So I've seen analytics project failed because they just want to use, or they just bring in all the columns. And I say, Oga, boss, all these things cannot work now. Do you really need all these columns? No, but I don't know how to write SQL. My own is I can only design. I say, you are designing fire. You understand? So it's important. So very simple. You can say very in your mind, so what's good? That's just it. I don't know what people are scared of. So yes, so that's selecting columns. Any question on this? So you specify columns, and W3 schools also help you by showing you a syntax. So syntax is how do you expect it to look like? So column 1, column 2, and the likes. Then the next one, let's see what are the functions you can run on a column. So in this case, we are selecting distinct country from customers. So if you come back here, if I put, it's not this I'm using, I think this is it. So if I come here and I put comma country, if I run this, now you can see we have Mexico, UK, Sweden, Germany, and the likes. But let's say you are interested in only, you want to know what are the specific countries that you have within your dataset. You can come here and use a function with this country, which is called what? Distinct. And if I tell you what is distinct, everybody know what distinct is. You can see that SQL is nothing but what? English. Dix, T-I-N-C-T, right? Is nothing but English. If you run this, it gives you distinct country. And the guy even help you to sort it like, well, this one, they didn't even, nobody asked the guy, oh, yes, but it's just, but in real life, the guy, it won't be sorted. But at least you are able to pick distinct country. So this distinct is like a function within SQL that say, okay, specify, perform this on this country, right? So that's selecting what? Distinct. Now, you can see all these criteria. So you can select distinct column, distinct across all the columns. So if you want to remove duplicate records within your data set, you can select distinct rows, right? So this guy will just check across the columns. So that's if I do yes, so you can do, it can check, it can check across the rows. So if I select distinct country and I say what else do I have? Customer ID, right? So if I run this, you can see it has aggregated by customer ID. Okay, no, it's not aggregating, it's picking each of, you can see how many records, 91 records. So this guy, Argentina, customer ID 12, Argentina 54. You can see, so select, so for data analyst, you can use this to delete duplicate rows within your data set. So that's just it. So distinct records. So if you pick all the records, all the columns you're interested in, and you say, give me distinct across board. So you can see how you can remove duplicates. Somebody that like Python, you know how well you will sweat before you remove duplicates, right? But you can see this one is just straight English. Then which other thing? Where? This where is how will I put it? Is, I won't say the most important thing, but you can see how we moved from the entire column using star, right, to specific columns using column names, right? The same thing is now how your where comes into play. This guy, what you have from select and from only focus on your column information, right? But we know that within the environment, sometimes you want to run analytics on things that happen in 2024 only. So in this case, now you are going to the row level information. And in order to go to row level information, that's where your where condition comes in. So where condition. And the example they are giving you, your where works with a lot of operators. So it works with greater than, less than, equal to, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, between, in, and, not, which other thing, like, regex, a lot of things. And This is what business can, this is where you put all the conditions business are giving you about the data. Oh, we need information about male customers. In your mind, you just know that, oh, where the customer gender is what? Male. That's it. So let's see the example we have here. So in this case, we just want information of customers from Mexico. Is it Mexico or Mexico? Yes. You can see the constraint, the customers from Mexico. Somebody is saying, how will I identify them? The first thing you do is, if I want to solve this kind of information, I'll first of all select star from customers. Now, under star from customers, I will see there is a column called what? Country, right? Once I see this column, I can now see that, okay, there is a value called Mexico. Oh, then I know that, okay, in this place, your where works on specific columns, on specified columns. Yes. So once you specify the column, it know what to do. So I can say where, which column am I interested in this case? Mexico. Where? No, the country. Country is the column. You can say country, but the value is Mexico. So where country, that's my column, equals, anytime you're typing text or value within the table, not the column name at this time. Anytime you're typing value within the table, you need to quote it as a string. If it's number, this guy is integer, so you can leave it as it is. Date, you need to quote it. Strings or text, you need to quote it. So that's why we are quoting. You can use single quote or double quote, anyone works. And you say Mexico. So once you have this, you can run. And the next thing you do as an analyst is to go and validate what your script is doing. And say, okay, I pick this column country and I say only give me Mexico. So if you come here and you see any other country, you know you have done something wrong. So you can say it's telling you you have 5 records and they are all what? Mexico. So attach another line to your CV. Ability to filter relevant results based on business requirements from database tables. You can see. Very simple. Yes. Do we have any question? So let me see.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Just said now. Say it, Biko. I bring this to Peter what?
Huh? I'm joking actually, but ability to filter tables to specific business requirement.
No, sorry
So
to stop here. I
yes,
know some
that's
of these
fine.
things we
Mhm.
can do it. For let me not say we, some of us can do it, but to not put it in our CV. So I can just say I'm looking to
Yeah.
use SQL.
No, yes, no,
But
that's
to
what you
you
put
to
in
know how
CV. I'm
to
joking.
uh,
So what you will tell the business is that you can use SQL. That's the only thing. Is during interview, they can give you a technical interview, which is getting some specific results based on business requirement. They will give you the requirement. So you are expected to write a script that will get that result for them if they put it on their table. And that's it. So that's where, so if you tell them that you can use SQL, another thing they ask you, how long have you been using SQL? Because the more you use SQL, the more challenges you face. And that's how people can rate your true usage of SQL. But I always tell people, once you do like this learning platform, once you learn anything on any learning platform and you know what you've learned, you can put 2 years at least. So if you finish what you have on W3 schools, you can attach it to your CV that you've been using your SQL 2 years and above if you are just starting. And what's the meaning of that? You know how to run order by where especially you can know how to run your where clause. I think you're good. You can put 2 years, and because they won't go and ask your previous organization that are you truly using SQL? No, it's how confident you are at presenting that case that actually makes you know how to use it. And one thing I always tell people is we are all learning. We are all learning. You can bring a tax to me today and I've never seen it before, but I'll be happy to go online and search. And I can assure you there will be solutions somewhere because you are not the first person to have that kind of question. Does that make sense? Yes, so let's go and see another condition. So they want customer ID. the one range of customers where you can see here we've used what equal to text, right? That's the first one. Now in this case they're doing equal to number. So where customer ID, they want information for only a specific customer ID. So they can come here and say, well, where customer ID equals 1. So just say customer. You know, customer ID is your what? Is your column. And you're saying equals what? 1. You can see using equal to sign. This is number. And if you run this, you will see your result is what? Only one result, right? Because you are picking this, right? Then another criteria, you want where customer ID is greater than 80. So all you just have to do, come back here, just increase this guy from equal to just put greater than and put 80. And it will give you all the numbers that are strictly greater than 80, starting from 81. You can see. If you are doubting, well, if I want it in code, just put equal to behind it and execute, and you have 80. So you can see basic mathematics, just adding 1 plus 2 together, and you have your result. Yes, and yes, these are the operators, like I mentioned. So you have equal to, greater than, less than, greater than, between. Yes, let's try between and let's see how it works. So if you have range of value, you can use between to say. So we want from product where the price is between this and this. So first, let's see what we have in product, or we can even select customer ID between 80 to or between 70 to 80. So you can come here where customer ID, you just say between 70 and 80. You can see just I'm asking for a range of value, and if you run it, you can see. And between is start and end inclusive, right? So if you come here, you can see end 80 and you can see 70, right? And there can be another way. If you're bringing in, you're using and so you can say where customer ID, you can say greater than or equal to 70 and customer ID less than or equal to 80. You just change the sign to less than or equal to. Just check your result count, 11 records. If you run it, the same thing, 11 records, 70 to 80. And that's one thing I love about SQL, that is I think it has mathematical mindset in that it doesn't have a single solution. It's it's only according to your thinking. But what I always tell people, a rule of thumb is if you're duplicating columns, you are doing it wrong. So there must be a better way. So if you have a condition and you are using the same column twice, find a better way to do it. And it's 8:08. I think we can tidy it up here tonight. So please visit W3 schools, and maybe in a maybe next week, we can have another session just to see how far. But that one will be strictly on SQL. There won't be anything like induction or anything. So we just go straight and run through all these remaining functions. And once you're good with that, I think we'll be good. Yes, do we have any question? So that's it on SQL. Any question so far? Yes, W3 schools. So I can copy and paste, just it's there for us to use, and it's free. They won't be charging you, but please, they always they have certificates, certified trainings, right? And you can pay. Please subscribe if you want to pay. You can, and you can see a lot of tutorials for you to learn till how will I put it, until you are tired. Yes. Any question so we can wrap it up tonight?
Thank you so much, Sean.
Yes.
Thank you, Professor Sean.
Yes, you're
There are
welcome.
some questions in the chat.
Oh, how do you import files into your SQL Management Studio? Yes, if you have SQL Management Studio, and the first thing is once you're in your SQL Management Studio, just create. Let's do a quick run through. First, I will first of all create a database. Create database. W3 school, right? W3 schools. So once I run this, it creates my database. If I refresh, you will see W3 schools there. Then I can come here. There is something called, you open your tables, then you right click on your tables, then let me see. Right click, there is import wizard is what I'm looking for. Task. Sorry, go to task, then you go to import flat files. If you select flat files, then you follow the sequence. Just go to the location, browse, look for your database. You ask for it, so you bear with me for the timing. SQL resources. Let's bring in these customers and click open. Right? Instantly it tells you where it's coming from, the name of the table schema. Then you click on next. It's previewing your data set. You can see the guy even imported it properly. But because I don't want people to be going through the issue of installing SQL Server, so you can see it's showing you how your data set will look like. If you are interested, you move on. Don't touch anything because sometimes change of data types can cause issue, right? So that's why. But here you can modify your columns, and you can see it's saying this guy as integer, as it's saying this guy as varchar because it's text, postcode, and varchar because it has other things, and allow nulls. You can see it ticks that this one can allow nulls, but custom ID doesn't allow nulls. Here you can make this guy also a primary key. Just tick this guy, make it a primary key. Then you can just click next, and you can see it's asking you for, it's telling you the import information. Then once you're satisfied, just click finish. It inserts your data and you can see the success result. And you can close. And if you come back here and you refresh, you will see your tables. You should see customer there at least. You right click and you can select top 1000 rows and you see your data set. Then all the query we are practicing with in W3 School, just select star from customers, right? If you do select that, if you press F5, the guy will run it and you can click the execute. It gives you, and where customer is from Mexico, you can just say where country equals, you need to quote your text, Mexico, then F5. No. I did not spell it very well. What's spelling of Mexico? Let me run and see it. Anna. Me
Case is it case sensitive? If it's capital M, is that to be capital?
country
Sean,
is
I think
Mexico, no?
you use double quotes. That's you use
Quotes is
double single
single.
quotes. Use double, yeah,
I use
yeah.
double single. Oh no, I think that's wrong. I thought I used double quote because okay, I think it's fine now. So he's not underlining it. Yes, and this underlining, I think if you're working in an environment like this, it's just telling you something is wrong somewhere. So if you come here and you execute this, why is it not since Mexico
I
now?
think it's also case sensitive. If the Mexico start with capital M or small m.
I don't know why. But,
Can you hear me?
it's, yes, I can hear you.
I said it is also case sensitive, I believe. If Mexico start
Uh,
with small m or capital M.
well, his capital we have here, Mexico country. Oh,
Country
sorry.
is
I hope
capital
it's my
C.
country. I hope it's not my country. If it's country, it's
Is
funny.
your semicolon? Yeah.
The guy is so rigid then. But it's fine. That's how to. So I know there is a possibility that that data set is not clean. You know, I was showing you all those comma, all those question marks. So there is a possibility that the data set is not clean enough. So maybe that's why. But at least that's story for another day. But the same thing works. Let me see if customer ID. If this customer ID too doesn't work, then there are some things we can't see. But the expectation is it should work. Oh, this one work. I don't know. Country. Or did I miss the spelling of country? That would be funny. Country. Country equals Mexico.
You can try on that
No,
country. Maybe he doesn't like Mexico.
it doesn't like Mexico. Let's see Mexico. Mexico. Ah, okay. It doesn't like Mexico. Let's see another country. Let's see.
Maybe it
Let's
has
see.
space. Maybe
Yes,
there's
at
space
the
in the
back,
middle
Abby. Oh, maybe
or
there
in
is
front.
space
Yeah.
at the front,
so,
Abby.
Your
so just
semicolon
Let's see.
after
just copy.
customers. Your
Let me.
semicolon after customers.
Oh,
No. You know, I put that to see what is going on. I don't know why.
Hello,
Well,
hello, sir. Hello,
yes,
sir.
yes, but
I think before you can execute, you have to highlight it, and click on execute. I think just try it. Well, if everything
we'll
is
try.
fine,
He's executing. You don't he's
uh,
executing, but he's not filtering. But well,
okay.
delete
this
that
one
space
is
first and try it again.
I've deleted the other time. It was not there before, but it's fine. The main thing is get the concept. At least if Mexico is not picking, say it's piece customer ID. Is that text? Is that string that is having issue? But I'll fix it. Maybe
I
that's why I
think
just
it's
said
from the star.
it's the data. It's the data that is the data that is having issue. It's not if the data is fine, then but I don't know, maybe this is a space or something. But the main thing is you have your data set, then you can query. But if this data is still having issue, I would recommend just focus on W3 schools, open this guy on another page, write your script here properly. So this one that we've written here that is causing problem, if I take it to W3 school, you will see there is a probability that it works. So if I say where country, to me, I won't lie to you, SQL is not case sensitive. So, but the reason why we do all those possible stuff is that at least you keep trying if it works, but sometimes the guy will just say, I'm not working. It shouldn't be. So if I copy this same query and I take it to my W3 schools, so if it works here, then it makes it the data within that environment that is having issue. Can you see that is working? So don't let that bothers you. And the reason for that is if you are training in learning, even me when I'm like doing training, I don't import CSV file. No, I will rather import proper script so that there is a way you can import script. We can run through that. We can just here we are inside this W3 school. I can say create table. I can call it maybe customer, right? Create table customer. I can say first one is my customer ID. This one is vaca. We said integer, followed by okay, we can still do to 930, it's fine. Followed by which other one? Date of birth, BIRTH, and date of birth is what? A data type. Then which other thing? Customer name. This one is funny. How can I ask for your date of birth before your name? So customer name, I can say first name. This one is what? Vaca. So vaca what? 20, right? Then put a comma. So I think this is sufficient just to show you that at least so we are creating a table name customer, and these are the 3 columns. So if I put semicolon here and I press F5, the guy creates a table, and if I refresh this guy, I should see my customer table. It's customer table I'm looking for. Okay, let me just refresh this. Perfect. Can you see it's customer, not customers now? Then once I'm done with that, I can insert into customer, sorry. And these are the columns I'm interested in: customer ID, first name, and my date of birth, right? And I can specify the values, right? The values as first customer ID. I can call this one is integer, so I can say customer ID 2, the person's first name. I can call the person taller. If the person is taller, I don't know why it's not accepting my double quotes. I don't know why, but maybe then the date of birth, we'll just say 2018 06 24, and that's it. So that's one data set, right? I can put a comma and put another one, right? And the likes. So let's just put two data set. I'll call this one 3. I'll call this one color. And this person is born in 2011. This person is born on 11/21, right? Let's just put those two data set. So currently, if I run select star from, so the reason why I'm speeding through is because I just want to show us how the data get there. We are doing import, but this one is using the script method. So if I do select star from customers now, customer, we are not using customers. So if I do select star from customer, I can highlight. So highlighting only executes the section I've highlighted. So you can see these are the 3 columns I created previously without values. So this is how to insert into the SQL. You can see 2 rows affected, which are these my 2 rows. And I can come back and execute. And that's your record. So that's and this one is, is expected that if I say where first name equals taller, this guy should not give me any issue because I followed the expected way. And you see, so this data is clean. And so I think that CSV is the one having issue. I hope that's clear. So is these tables that they have created within their own database in W3 schools. So they don't want you to do all those all those challenges of, they don't want you to face all those challenges of cleaning data sets, the data types and the likes. So that's why your script is now in this table. So this customers table is the same thing as the one we've created with just 2 lines, but this one is having more information. Then you have more data sets to slice and dice by. Yes, I think that's it.